good evening and welcome to RTD's English News. Here are these Tuesday top stories. The head of state to chair the 2016 Second Minister Council. And on the international scene, China announced changes to military structure.
Those were the top stories, and welcome to our newsroom. Under the presidency of the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Margeli, the 2016 second session of the Ministers' Council took place at the Presidential Palace. Several bills have been approved by the board. Let's listen to this report of the Delegate Minister to the International Cooperation for more details.
Sous la présidence de Son Excellence M. Ismail Margeli, président de la République et chef du gouvernement, s'est tenu ce mardi 12 janvier 2016 le Conseil des ministres.
Concerning the Ministry of the Economy and Finances in charge of the industry, the Ministry has presented two bills on the ratification of two loan agreements around an amount of 2.3 billion of Djibouti francs, and on the other hand of an amount around 1 billion francs between the Republic of Djibouti and the Fund for International Development of the OPEC. These loan agreements are intended for the partial financing of extending the port of Tijara, and in particular to cover the work necessary to increase the wharf inland and in the increase in the building of water in the context of hosting large ships essential to the export of potash. The execution of these projects will also be translated into the provision of equipment for the manipulation of the potash and the establishment of marine facilities. These projects aim to ensure a better coverage of the growing demand for maritime traffic, but also to boost the economic and social development of the country in general and the regions of the north in particular. The second issue relating to a bill which has for objective the ratification of the Patent Cooperation Treaty. This treaty is a treaty of international law in the field of patents concluded in 1970 and administered by the World Intellectual Property Organization. This treaty provides a unified procedure for filing patent applications to protect inventions in each of the contracting states. The treaty allows to provide global inventors a protection in all participating states. As well, according to this treaty, by filing a single application with the Agency of Djibouti of Industrial Property, the applicant obtains the effect of a national patent application filed on a regular basis for all contracting states to the treaty. This patent cooperation treaty makes the patent system of the countries attractive. The accession to this treaty will allow our country to have a complementary legal instruments for the protection of intellectual property and in particular in the field of patents protection. As for the Ministry of Communication, responsible for posts in telecommunications, the financial accounts of Djibouti Telecom for the fiscal year 2013 have been adopted to more than 14 billion Djibouti francs. During the course of this exercise, this establishment has experienced an increase in its business activity, which is reflected by an increase in figures of the affairs of telephone lines and internet, as well as the sale of GCM products. It has also made significant investments to increase its operational capacity and execute projects of infrastructure.
Thereafter, the Council of Ministers has adopted for the Ministry of Interior a decree laying down the rules for the establishment of electoral lists. Here are the explanation of the Delegate Minister to the International Cooperation, Mr. Ahmed Ali Silai.
Ministère de l'Intérieur. Cinquième question.
For the Ministry of the Interior, in accordance with electoral taxes and to take account of changes in the electoral party, this decree lays down the rules of the establishment of electoral lists as well as the conditions of issue and validating maps of voters for the next electoral deadlines. It also sets the content of the electoral map, its terms and conditions of renewal and delivery. The adoption of this decree will ensure a good, effective management of the national electoral file and a better organization of the electoral process. Finally, The Minister of Energy in charge of the natural resources, Mr. Ali Yaqub Mahmoud, has made a report on his visit to Saudi Arabia from January 5 to 7, 2016. In the framework of exploring the new railway line linking Djibouti to Addis Ababa, an exchange and qualification conference with the companies prior to the call for tenders of the management contract has been held this morning at the People's Palace. This conference with the companies has involved in the presence of the Djiboutian Railway Society General Director Mr. Mohamed Roble and his Ethiopian counterpart Dr. Getashu Betru and the whole 7 companies concerned by the management of this new modern infrastructure with a session of question and answer. The concerned companies by the management of this new infrastructure, members of subcommittee of the 2 countries loads on the monitoring of appeal file process and the selection of an operator specialized in the field of the railway management. The objective of this meeting was to be able to follow the exposure of each of the societies concerned by the management of this new infrastructure and then to debate on the management system.
And give us what they could do for us. We called on about 7 international contractors, and we have got a very good response. Today, literally, everybody has come. They've asked us some questions and clarifications about the management contract. We have told them, to the best of our capacity, what they're expecting from us, and I'm sure by the end of this year, we'll know. This month will know who is the winner of this tendering process. This is the purpose of today's meeting.
The Minister of Housing, Planning and Environment, Mr. Mohamed Musa Balala, inaugurated in the morning of Saturday the Asamo Burale Adawya Eco-Tourism Center within the presence of the Region Prefect, Mr. Mohamed Waberi Asowi, the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Umar Ahmed Wais, as well as the parliamentarians of the region, the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Mohamed Ali Humed, the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Mr. Badul Hassan Badul, and many guests also took part in this inauguration ceremony. This original center, created by a great defender of the nature, Dr. Bertrand Lafrance, a veterinarian known for its action in favor of the Djibouti fauna. The center is located in the heart of Asamo locality. The encampment traditional nomadic with the boxes made of earth and straw and paddock of thorny bushes for livestock makes you want to stay there to forget the houses of trek between the city of Al-Sabih up to the center and appreciate to the calm and serenity of the life in nature. Dr. Bertrand Lafrance has explained to the participant that this center was intended to foster a perfect symbiosis between man and the environment. This center will play an important role in tourism, taking into account the natural environment. In this intervention, the prefect of the region of Ali Sabih, Mr. Mohamed Waberi Asowi, has insisted on the objective of the government to make tourism an aspect of economic development which pays to the preservation of the research of our environment and the involvement of the committees.
For its part, the Minister of the Environment, Mohamed Balala, has indicated that this center is the second eco-tourist center. In spite of its arid climate, Djibouti houses a biodiversity that allows to attract national and international tourists. Said the minister, as you know, the protection of the environment and development are closely linked. In fact, the conservation of an exceptional ecosystem, it is being under the impetus of the President of the Republic that the government seeks to promote tourism in Dai and Asamo, he said. The center hosts many species of birds, but also very rare antelopes that the doctor has presented and is found only in 3 countries of the Horn of Africa, namely Asamo, Somalia, and Ethiopia.
A delegation led by the Secretary General of the MEMFOP, Mr. Harun Umar Aden, visited yesterday in the 28 schools in the region of Tajura. This tour was part of the framework for the improvement of the quality of teaching and has for objective to inquire as to the proper functioning of our schools. In total, 7 committees conduct each by inspectors composed of the technical advisor of the minister as well as the pedagogic counselors have traveled in the basic school, college of lesson means as well as the high school of general education and secondary school to technical lessons of the region. This tour has allowed the various commission to perform an audit on the educational plane, financial administration institution, and to verify the correct operation of school canteens.
A delegation of 8 educational advisors led by the Inspector of Mathematics of the Middle and Secondary Education, Muhammad Abdo, and the Regional Director of Education, Mr. Akli, visited yesterday in the middle schools of Al-Holhol. The purpose of this visit is part of the implementation of the pedagogical follow-up for teachers in their classes practices, but also to see up close the realization of acquired during ongoing training provided to teachers during the school holidays at the end of December. The members of the commissions, composed of advisors of all disciplines, have conducted visits to each classes and then met with the teachers to advise and correct them in order to help them better understand the courses for students. The delegation was satisfied with this inspection visit. On its side, the principal of the college has welcomed this visit of the pedagogical team and said he was confident as to different comments raised by the pedagogical team and that such visits are important and very well received by the teachers.
As part of the monthly consultation activities performed by the team by the medical center in the region of Arta for the reconciliation of care in villages, a mobile team has moved in the locality of Umar Jaga within the doctor of the mobile team to conduct consultation and proximity care. The service offered to the population of the locality were medical consultation, vaccination, care of children, malnutrition, and among others. The number of those consulted are 155 adults, 19 children, and like the Minister of Health, with this action intend to bring the care to the remote population of the regions.
The second tour of the Secretary of State team for the National Solidarity took place in the region of Arta, in the sector of Wea, for the establishment of a committee of targeting in the framework of the program of the PNSF, the National Family Solidarity Program. An important meeting was held in the presence of the prefect of the region, Abdullah Okidirar, the members of the region, the chairman of the regional council, and the vice president of the regional council.
And now on the regional and international scene in Somalia, students at Ganan Primary and Secondary School in Kismayo, Somalia have received a rare treat from the Kenyan Defense Force operating under the African Union mission there. The troops donate an assortment of the learning materials to the students as they prepare to go back to school. Saeed Mohammed with more details.
The African Union Mission in Somalia, AMISOM Kenya contingent recently donated an assortment of scholastic material to students of Ganane Primary and Secondary School in Kismayo. The team from Kenya Defense Force, led by the Sector Kismayo Commander Lieutenant Colonel John Kipia, donated items that includes book, pencil, pens, and chalk to the school. The AMISOM officials were welcomed to the school by the teachers and the students, who expressed gratitude to AMISOM and the Kenya contingent for their generous gesture. Lieutenant Colonel Kipia said, "Let me take this opportunity first of all on behalf of AMISOM and in particular Kenya Defense Force to thank the people of Somalia for choosing to work with AMISOM. I want to thank the administration, the leadership of Jubaland for supporting Kalafo School. From our assessments here today, there are other areas we shall continue to work together." Ms. Qamar Dek Khalif, the Ministry of Women Affairs and Humanitarian in the interim Jubaland administration, said, "We as Jubaland administration and AMISOM are working to support the people, especially women. Our effort toward developing women will continue. We knock at doors and encourage women and girls to go to school. We are engaged in motivating the children, especially women and girls, because they hold the key to the future of Somalia. Mrs. Fatima Muhammad Kahye, a student at the school, said, "I know that education is really important, and without education one cannot go anywhere and do anything. We thank AMISOM and Jubaland administration for encouraging us to be who we are and get educated. We are our country's future, and we believe we will have a better future in Somalia."
Aid convoys arranged by local and international organizations have reached 3 PCS towns in Syria, where thousands are trapped and some have died of starvation. The convoys are part of a deal between the government and rebels to let supplies into PCH areas. The World Food Programme said the aid carried on the Madaya convoy will meet the needs of 40,000 people for 1 month. The UN Refugee Agency said the first trucks arrived in a convoy of 49 vehicles. The spokesperson of the Red Cross delegation in Syria, Marianne Gazar, said this is a very positive development, but it must not be just a one-off distribution.
China has unveiled changes to the structure of its military, adding 3 new units described by President Xi Jinping as a major policy decision to realize the Chinese dream of a strong army. Let's listen to the following video.
The Chinese President Xi Jinping ordered a reorganization of the military headquarters structure on Monday. The reform will reorganize the 4 headquarters responsible for staff, politics, and logistics, and will be replaced with 15 new agencies under the direct authority of the ruling Communist Party's Central Military Commission. The agencies include 7 departments, 3 commissions, and 5 other departments. The Chinese President Xi Jinping, who is also the chairman of the CMC, met with the new chief of each of the agencies on Monday. He described the reshuffle as a breakthrough and called the new leadership system a crucial step toward a stronger military. In the past, the Chinese president has stressed on many occasions that a prosperous nation and a strong army are the foundation upon which national rejuvenation will be built. The reform is also a part of the Chinese president's blueprint of building a strong army through reforms. On December 31, 2015, China unveiled 3 units: the PLA Army General Command, the PLA Rocket Force, and the PLA Strategic Support Force at the inauguration ceremony in Beijing. The restructuring will contribute to an absolute leadership of the party over the army and will enhance the restriction on and supervision of the exercise of power.
A night in the city of Mogadishu, known for enduring years of conflict, is fast taking on a new charm, with entertainment spots emerging as the city savors relative peace. When the sun sets, the town takes on another life, one of the serenity recreation with entertainment in the hotels. In the suburbs, donkey carts and cattle herds roam the streets, grocery shops and hair salons are open late into the night, while youth play street soccer under solar-powered lights. Musicians and bands are also re-emerging here, entertaining patrons at night. Among these, Awais Fanana, who strums the kabana, a 6-string Somali instrument akin to a guitar but shaped like a calabash. Every Tuesday and Friday, he entertains patrons cozied up at the hotel in Mogadishu, singing about love in sonorous tunes, sings rendition of Somali music icons. This is it for tonight's news. The program still continues in RTD. Have a wonderful evening.